Hey booze, hey, do your blankets feel like super glue in the morning? Well sis, it's time to shake them off. Welcome to Wake Up Happy Sis, the show that jumpstarts your day with a bang. We're strolling down these self-care streets as we navigate the maze of wellness and healing. We're helping you live happy, healed, and whole. And we do it all with a hearty dose of belly laughs for good measure. Stay tuned and get ready to wake up happy, sis. Yes. Hey, booze. Hey, how is everybody doing today? Oh, hold up, hold up. What we don't do is have me without my background. Okay, come on. But okay, now you want to act up. You see how it always trying to act up? But we're not having that today. Okay? We are not having that today. Now it's trying to say it doesn't want to do it. First of all, we don't have a green screen. Maybe it ain't gonna work today. I don't know. I guess you guys will just get the little background today because, baby, it don't want to act right. But whatever. The show must go on. We're gonna try this one more time because since when did you not take my backgrounds? Oh, now they're saying we have to have a green screen. Hold on, y'all. Hold on, y'all. Let me get my other light working. Maybe that's the issue. There's always some mess trying to stop us. It's okay. It's all right. We're going to work it out. I ain't gonna stress. Now, let's get to this show. All right. Hey, booze. Hey. I'm your girl, Leanne Dulce, the host of the Wake Up Happy Sis show. You're tuned in live on KCCR Cityscape Radio, where we're changing the narrative for our people because we are always telling our story our way, and we're unapologetic about it. So today we're diving into a topic that honestly is close to my heart because I know I have friends who have lived this life. And that's caregiving. And as a mother, we know what caregiving is. As an adult child who may have to take care of their parents, other family members, husbands, wives who have illnesses, we know all about that. November is National Family Caregivers Month. And in this episode, Caregiver Circle Love and Burnout, is really dedicated to all you incredible women and men out there who give so much of their lives to others every single day. We're talking about how you're going to recognize the signs of burnout, how you're going to set boundaries that help protect your energy, how you can build your own self-care toolkit, and how you can sustain self-love on this caregiving journey because it is a lot. It's time to stop running on empty and start refilling your own cup. You know, we say that a lot around here, and we're going to keep saying it and keep saying it. The real Zeus, is that you, Dougie Fresh? Hey, for anybody that's on Instagram and on TikTok and everywhere else that we're broadcasting. So, as always, grab your favorite mug of something, settle in, and let's make this hour all about you, your well-being, your resilience, and of course, your self-love. So, my co-host Sharonda is not going to be here today because her and her husband Arif are living their best life. And I love that for them. So, when we talk about caregiving and burnout, right, we know that that is a very real thing. When you are used to having to take care of another person, and that becomes sometimes the majority of your life, not to mention the fact that you probably still have a day job, right? You may still have other family obligations. You may have community obligations. It really can seem like you're a hamster running on one of those little wheels, right? You're constantly going, tiring yourself out, but you don't feel like you're getting anywhere, right? So, what we want to do today is I really want to feed and pour into you because without you, our lives are meaningless. Our lives, the lives of those you care for, are always enriched because of the caregivers and their amount of selflessness. If you had a parent who has had dementia or who has dementia or who has gotten really ill and just maybe elder and they can no longer take care of themselves, that becomes your lifestyle. A lot of times we give up who we are, what we want to do, so that we can take care of those that we love. So, because caregiving is a journey like any other, sometimes I feel like it's this kind of love that takes you to the very edges of your heart. And sometimes it's filled with so much pride and joy. But other times, baby, it is stretched beyond what you thought you could bear. And you feel like it's going to break at any turn. Does that sound familiar to anybody? That happened to me even as a parent, right? Um, as you know, this is a drop-in show. If you have something you would like to share or contribute, you can head on over and you can come on in the room with me. Now, for those of us who really take on the role of caring for others, life really becomes a delicate balance between giving of yourself and holding on to ourselves. Because am I giving or am I holding on to me? Most times that scale ain't even balanced, baby. It is tipped way over on the caregiving side to the point where we are running ourselves ragged, where we are exhausted because we are caring for others and we sometimes forget to care for us. And for so many caregivers, life becomes this kind of series of, yes, I'll handle it. No, I got it. I don't need any help. I'll rest later. I got to do X, Y, and Z. But that later fails to come. Days start to blur together. You have all these demands tugging at you from every which way. You've become the rock in your family, in that existence, right? You have become the one that everybody goes to, everybody relies on. You are the steady one. And while this was a role that you took out of love, out of dedication, or even out of duty, I don't mean it doesn't wear on you, that it doesn't break you down, that there are days when your spirit just feels bone tired, right? Because you're carrying that weight of not just your responsibilities, but another person's health and well-being on your shoulders. Sometimes that can feel like the weight of the world right here. My shoulders. Just in case you guys didn't know, I used to have what you call it. That's why they look at me trying to be like this. I don't want to get eaten. So, if you're a caregiver and you can relate to this living in a quiet struggle, and from the outside, you look so put together, right? You look so strong. You're handling everything. Nobody can shake you. You're this pillar of confidence. But on the inside, There's a battle going on between self sacrifice and self preservation. It's the inner conflict of wanting to be everything for everybody because that is what we're used to. That is what we're called to do. That is what we're pushed to do. But you feel like there's nothing left for you. You wake up tired sometimes, you go right on back to bed tired because that is what your day has become. But here's something that you need to know: you don't have to always put on a brave face. You don't. When we step into this role of caregiver that demands so much of you, while you are silently carrying this weight that no one else sees, sometimes you feel invisible. Sometimes you feel unheard. You feel alone on this journey, like, oh my goodness, there's nobody to help me when I need help. The truth is, for all the joy and meaning that caregiving can bring, it can also be one of the loneliest and most exhausting roads that you will ever walk. And I know y'all feel me out there, but here's something that I want you to know and really take this in. You are not meant to disappear in that role of caregiver. You are still 100% you. You still have your own needs, your own dreams, your own wants, your own worth, your own desires. And this journey doesn't have to be a sacrifice of your own happiness, your own health, your peace. Today, we're really going to be talking about how do you hold on to you while still giving up yourself to everybody else. Because I want you to know that you are so worthy of every ounce of care and love that you give out to everybody else. And it's really time for you to make room of that in your life. It's time for you to fight against the burnout. It's time for you to start setting those boundaries, protecting your peace, saying no sometimes, right? We can't always be everything to everybody. And I know that's hard to hear because you're used to doing that. Sometimes you don't know how to exist outside of that. But you are still you. You still deserve and you still require love and self care. So let's start by talking about how do we recognize when we're burned out as caregivers, right? Now, burnout, emotional exhaustion, it really isn't just this feeling of being tired. It is really a pervasive weariness that really impacts your ability to feel, to connect, even with the people that you are caring for. Sometimes you have this major disconnect. That's maybe a sign of emotional exhaustion. A lot of caregivers report that they feel a disconnect from their emotions, and they often mistake it as numbness. I just feel numb. It's exhaustion. And it can lead to resentment, it can lead to frustration, and it often leads to guilt. I'm taking care of my mother with dementia, for example. I'm exhausted. She's having a spell. Maybe she got lost, got out the house, got lost. You're feeling guilty because you thought you could take a nap or you thought you could go to the store. I had a friend who was taking care of her husband who was suffering from Alzheimer's. And she literally just went to the store 10 minutes up the street. So in that, let's say 30-minute time it went for her to go to the store, pick some things up and come back. Her husband had taken the keys to the other car, to his car, packed up his stuff, And luckily, he didn't drive that car. He was sitting in the back seat of the car waiting to go home, waiting for his caregiver to come back and take him home. She was exhausted and just thought she could run to the store and pick up a thing or two, and felt guilty coming back because what would have happened if he had gotten in a car, right? But it's essential that you recognize that this level of tiredness is way more than just you're having a rough or a bad day. It's a sign that you are running on empty. It's a sign like you wake up feeling defeated or sad. You're experiencing a lack of motivation to do the things that you once loved. And you're always feeling on edge, even when it's a calm situation, you still feel on edge. But that's just one type. There's also compassion fatigue. And that's when empathy turns into overload, baby. The very empathy that makes you a loving caregiver has become so overwhelming. It's just become too much for you. And it can manifest in a lot of subtle ways. You ever been irritated, just irritated out of the blue when someone asks for help? Feeling cut off from those that you care about, that you're caring for. But I want you to know this doesn't mean it's a failure on your part. It's just a physiological response to prolonged stress. And compassion fatigue often develops after months and or years of caregiving, and you can become and it really can become chronic if it's unchecked. Now, if you're feeling jaded, you're feeling cynical about caregiving, or you're starting to view it as a burden instead of an act of love, that might mean you have compassion fatigue, right? And then there's physical health. Your physical health can, start to decline when you're experiencing burnout. Because burnout doesn't just live here, it shows up in your body. Constant headaches, muscle tension, digestive system issues, sleep disturbances. Your body might be signaling you that it is burned out, right? And medication doesn't seem to be helping. Taking the gas X pills, nothing's working. Your cortisol levels are high, they're rising, they keep rising. And that's the stress hormone for those who don't know. Those cortisol levels, cortisol is that stress hormone. And over extended periods of time is staying high. That's when sometimes those physical traits are going to start showing up. Your body is wearing down. It happens. And that means you might have longer recovery times. The tension headaches and stress headaches are lasting longer. You're also going to be more susceptible to other illnesses. Now, some physical symptoms that you start to have, like I said, the headaches, the digestive issues, sleeping problems, immune system suppression, you're getting sick a lot more. That means it's time for you to start addressing burnout and start addressing it fast. Quick, fast, and in a hurry. You need to get to the doctor. Talk to somebody, talk to a professional. But it's not just those things. It's not just physical. It's not just compassion. It's not just your emotional exhaustion. You might also start withdrawing socially, isolating yourself as a coping mechanism for overwhelming stress. That's what one of my friends, Brandon, used to do. When he got too stressed and wore out, I wouldn't hear from him for a week, 2 weeks, because he would go so much inside and he would isolate himself because he was disconnecting, not just physically, but he was also disconnecting emotionally. Now, as a caregiver, if you see yourself starting to pull away from your friends or your family, you're feeling like nobody really understands the stress and things that you're going through, when you believe that you just don't even have the energy to maintain these social bonds and connections, this self imposed isolation can be dangerous because it just reinforces those feelings of helplessness and overwhelm. And it's vital to recognize that this withdrawal isn't because you're a bad friend in any way, but it's your way of trying to cope, your system's way of trying to cope with the overwhelming responsibilities that you have as a caregiver. And it's okay. It's 100% okay to feel that way. And finally, you may be having these persistent feelings of inadequacy. Ever feel guilty like you're not doing enough, but yet you're always doing? That can haunt caregivers a lot. And it stems from that belief that you could be doing more, despite the fact that you are literally giving everything that you have. And this guilt can become a mental trap. What's it going to lead to? Overcompensation, where you're pushing yourself beyond your limits because you're still trying to prove your worth. Now, when you recognize these feelings of inadequacy as a part of burnout, it's essential because it reframes it not as personal feelings, but as just symptoms of an overloaded system. And that's all it is. It's not you. You're not a failure. You're just burned out. You're overwhelmed. You're tired. You're not taking time for you, right? Now, if you're wondering, well, how do I know if what I'm feeling is normal stress or if I'm really suffering from burnout? Stress is typically going to be short term, and it usually is connected with specific events, right? Something happened at the office, something happened at home. There's a lot of traffic on the way home, very short lived. You're going to get home, you're going to woosah, take yourself a nap, whatever, you'll feel better. Burnout is persistent and it starts to pervade all aspects of your life, not just this one little area. With stress, a weekend off or a good night might recharge you. But burnout will often feel like you're carrying this emotional weight that rest just can't fix. Yes, Shemius. Shemia S. Yes. This is what we're dealing with. And I'm not just talking about caregivers who are caring for elderly parents and stuff. Parents, single parents, caregivers too. We suffer from burnout on all different levels, right? Because burnout is like a slow leak in your tire, right? Your energy is going to start gradually decreasing, and nothing you seem to do fills that cup back up. Now, some of the key indicators that you may be suffering from burnout and not just regular stress is an ongoing feeling of emotional numbness, right? That emotional exhaustion we talked about. Chronic fatigue, even after you got 8 hours. I got my 8 hours. feeling disconnected from your loved ones and your friends, isolating yourself, pulling back, right? The difference really lies in the pervasiveness and the chronic nature of burnout compared to that kind of temporary, situation specific thing that stresses. Now, if I realize, okay, maybe I am suffering from burnout. I don't know why people always like to call me while I'm on my show. On my show, ma'am. Don't call me during show times. Thank you. Okay, sorry guys. So I realize I'm suffering from burnout. I'm in the midst of it, right? It's already starting to affect areas. What can I do? I need something. The first thing you have to do is you have to acknowledge that you're suffering from burnout and do it without guilt. That's usually the hard part, is the without guilt. You have to recognize, uh, that burnout is a sign that your body and your mind need support, not that you're failing. Let me say that again. You have to recognize that you need support, not that you are failing. I need you to begin with small, consistent actions that reintroduce self compassion into your day. How often do you schedule your non negotiable breaks throughout the day where you are able to disconnect fully? No caregiver tasks, no phone calls, no technology, where you can take 15, 20, 30 minutes. You might have to have somebody come and sit with the person or people that you are caregiving for, so you have that time to yourself, and it has to become non-negotiable. And that's when you're going to use these times to start recharging intentionally. Even if you're doing nothing more than being mindful, yoga, meditation, deep breathing, or just sitting in silence with your eyes closed. Baby, sometimes that sitting in silence is all we need. And meditate during that time. Learn how to shut off your brain for a minute. Because as a caregiver, you're always focused and worried about those you care for. So it's hard to turn your brain off. It's a training, it's a skill that you have to learn. And find an accountability partner, friend, family member, especially a fellow caregiver, somebody that can help remind you to prioritize yourself and check in on your well being. And if it's another caregiver, that may be a great way for you to get that non negotiable time, is you guys support each other. And sometimes they sit for you while you get your time off, and you sit for them when they have their time off, right? Now, when you have burnout, when you're suffering from burnout, you've got all these intense feelings and emotions, guilt is a natural emotion that's going to come up. And if you're wondering, well, how do I deal with that? You can definitely manage it. I need you to start by reframing your perspective. Again, it starts here. Burnout does not equal failure. Burnout does not equal failure. Burnout does not equal failure. It's a sign that you've been giving of yourself too much. Your cup is bone dry, baby, and you stopped filling it a long time ago, yet you keep trying to give out of a cup that's empty. I need you to reflect on how rest actually benefits those you care for. How your rest, you being at your best, how do they benefit? Right? Because what it does is it allows you to show up with more energy, with more patience, with more love, with more vitality, with more compassion for yourself and for those that you care are taking care of. When guilt arises, when it comes up and tries to 1-2 you, give you that 2 piece and a biscuit, you have to remind yourself that your self-care and your wellness enhances your ability to care for others. But it's meant for you. If nothing else, it replenishes you, and that's enough. But happy, healed, and whole Leanne is a much better caregiver than stressed out, burned out, overwhelmed Leanne. You also need to set boundaries, and that's going to be the next thing that we talk about, because these boundaries are going to reduce those guilt inducing triggers. My favorite boundary, and I know you've heard it if you've watched our show or listened in, is saying no to non essential tasks. Thank you, Shamia. Say no to the non essential tasks. It's okay to say no. It's okay to say get somebody else to do it. I'm not going to be able to make it. No is a complete sentence. You don't even have to give any other response with it. Right? I want you to use affirmations too. Something as simple as like taking care of myself allows me to take care of others. Or taking care of myself is taking care of others. Because that's how you're going to start reframing that guilt into empowerment. I deserve to live a life that is happy, healed, and whole. Very simple. You can go into ChatGPT. Let's ask ChatGPT. This is real time, y'all. Okay. Informations that help caregivers release. Yes, you are so welcome. Okay. Let's just see what ChatGPT says for some other affirmations. Ooh, ooh, these are good. I might have to drop these for y'all. I might have to drop these for y'all. I'm going to give you a couple of affirmations that you can say that's going to help try to reframe that guilt into empowerment. And Shamia, I'm going to put your comment up here. Did it post? Yeah. So I want to be able to pin your post. Boom. Oops, that's not it. There we go. So this was Shamia said. You're welcome and thank you. Your pointers today will help me through it all. You are so welcome. That is our goal here, is to help. Because I want y'all to know that we are here for you. This is what we do, baby. I ain't even had to clack my fan today or nothing. Okay? Because my partner in crime, Sharonda, is out living her best life, and I'm happy for her because she deserves it. So let's get to some of these affirmations. It gave out some fire affirmations. And if you have a ChatGPT on your phone, you can talk to it and it'll talk back to you and read those affirmations to you. But first affirmation, my well-being is as important as the care I give to others. I want you to repeat after me and say these to yourself. My well-being is as important as the care I give to others. Because that's going to remind you that you're not just a caregiver, but you are a whole person with needs of your own, a whole damn person. It's okay to rest and recharge. I'm worthy of peace and joy. Caring for myself does not take away from the care I give to others, it strengthens it. I honor the care I give to others by honoring my own needs. And finally, taking time to care for myself doesn't mean I love them any less. It means I love us both enough to care well. Do you see what I'm saying? Repeat these things to yourself daily when you get up in the morning before you get started on that your long day. These are the things that you can do and you can say to help you reframe that guilt into empowerment. Reframe those feelings of inadequacy into feelings of empowerment, self love, self compassion, right? Now, we also need to talk about these boundaries that you probably have failed to set in your life. That's another reason why you're feeling overwhelmed, overburdened, disconnected, and super stressed out and burned out. But here are some practical techniques to help you set and maintain, because ain't no point in setting it if you're not going to maintain it. Thank you for the hearts over there. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Thunder Biz Buns. Thunder Buns. Thank you. I love that name, by the way. Amen to Thunder Buns. So, first, you got to understand the purpose of boundaries. I think for a lot of caregivers, we feel that boundaries are a barrier to love. Nothing could be further from the truth. Boundaries are actually an essential tool for sustaining love. Because without boundaries, caregiving becomes overwhelming and it just becomes unsustainable. Because you're doing for everybody. You don't know what no means. All you know how to say is yes. And you're slowly killing yourself because you're doing for everybody and not doing for self. Boundaries are going to help you conserve emotional and physical energy so that you can show up fully when you need to. I want you to think of boundaries as this invisible energy protector that's allowing you to recharge and refill your cup without guilt. Without guilt. That's the hard part. Because whenever you, as a caregiver, whenever you want to take time for yourself, the first thing that hits you is, how dare you? How could you? Now, if you're over here on TikTok, don't feel like you can't give me some more love, some more hearts, some diamonds, some something. Help your girl out over here. Now, how do we start to put those boundaries in place? The first one is, I already said it. I need you to start using the word no as a powerful self-care tool. And I know it's challenging to say no when you are probably a people pleaser. You want everyone to feel happy and safe, right? You want everyone to have the best. But you're included in that, everyone. So you can't always say yes, right? Because yes feels like it's a part of the job, but it isn't. Start small by saying no to things that are non-essential. Like other tasks that you could say, get somebody else to do it. Start by saying no to those non-essential tasks. I need you to remind yourself that no doesn't mean you're withdrawing care and withholding care from the loved ones. It means you're ensuring you have enough energy to keep caring without depleting yourself, to keep your cup, y'all hear that, from being empty. You're supposed to give out of your abundance, out of your overflow. What's in the cup is for you. What's overflowing into the saucer is for others. You can't keep giving and depleting yourself and thinking that you're actually even giving them the best that you have, because you're not. You're just not able to. Now, begin with small boundaries. Sometimes we can't do the boundary thing because we think we have to set these big, grandiose boundaries, these definitive hard lines. Cross this, you're out. Start small. Say no to some non essential tasks. Allocate 15 minutes a day for uninterrupted me time. And you have to be consistent in enforcing these minor boundaries, because what it's going to do is going to help you build confidence, and it signals to others that your needs matter too. And that's super important, because I think sometimes we forget and others forget, right? Now, over time, these small boundaries are going to add up, and you're going to have this significant protective buffer against burnout. Now, you also need to communicate those boundaries, because there's no point in creating boundaries if you're not going to communicate them. But you can communicate them with clarity and with compassion. You don't have to wait until you're super stressed and then you're popping off on people with the boundary. Open communication is key when you're setting boundaries with family and with those you're caring for. Just use clear I statements. Start with that. I need 10 minutes of quiet time each evening so that I can recharge my battery. Communicate that these boundaries are going to allow you to maintain the energy that you need to care effectively, because you have to help others understand that the boundaries benefit everybody. The boundaries don't just benefit you. Okay? They don't just benefit you. The boundaries are there for everybody. Think of the boundaries like little contracts. Contracts have clauses in them that help me, but they also help you as well. Because everybody understands, everybody knows, we're all on the same page. We're moving forward in the same direction. There's no misunderstandings, no miscommunications. I need 10 minutes of quiet time each evening. And then I need you to also establish some mental boundaries for your own emotional protection, because these mental boundaries are just as important as the physical ones. You can create a visualization technique. Think about this. Imagine putting on an armor of calm. Imagine mentally closing the door on those caregiving responsibilities when you're off duty, when you're having your 10, 15 minutes of me time. These mental shifts are going to help prevent your caregiver role from just completely blending into your personal identity, because you are not just a caregiver, you are so much more. And it's going to give you that space that you need to breathe. Sometimes we don't give ourselves that, right? We don't even know what that is. Space to breathe. What is that? Oh my God. But you require it, you deserve it. If you're not going to give it to you, who's going to give it to you? Right? So, you've been tuned into the Wake Up Happy Sis Show on KCCR Cityscape Radio, where we're changing the narrative for our people because we're always telling our stories our way. We'll be back after this brief word. Hey, sis. Ever feel like you're on the verge of a meltdown? Are you overwhelmed from juggling your job, your family, and trying to fit in me time, but seriously dropping the ball on that last one? Guess what? You're not alone. Introducing the Burnout Recovery Kit. It's your 14-day lifeline to go from burnt out to lit up. Get ready to reclaim your joy, energy, and that I got this attitude. Grab your free ebook, a purpose-driven workbook, daily email prompts, as well as SMS boosters and Q&A sessions. It's like a spa day for your soul, and guess what? It's totally free. Don't waste another minute feeling drained. Go to officialburnoutrecoverykit.com right now and kickstart your transformation. The Burnout Recovery Kit, because you deserve to be at the top of your own to-do list. Don't just cope. Thrive, sis. Y'all hear that music? That music's so sexy. You ain't gonna hear that beat nowhere else, and if you do, let me know because they jacking my swag. So now let's get into how do I, as a caregiver, create my own self-care toolkit, because that's important, right? Because when you equip yourself with personalized, long-lasting long-lasting self-care toolkit that meets your emotional, physical, mental, and spiritual needs, baby, burnout will be a thing of the past for you. So you have to start by identifying your core self-care needs, because self-care is not a one size fits all. What I need is not what you need. It's not what Susan Becklin needs. It's not what Gregory needs. It's not what Shamia needs. It's not what Mama Africa needs, right? For caregivers, the key for you is going to be identify the areas. There's 8 dimensions of wellness. Did you guys know that? But you have to identify the areas that need the most attention. Now, one of the things that I created, well, I didn't really create it. I created a version of myself. It is not um, an original thought. The 8 dimensions of wellness has been around. But when you're looking at the areas, what are the areas? Is it physical? Is it emotional? Is it spiritual, environmental, intellectual, social, occupational, and even financial? But what are the areas that need the most attention? Because your financial wellness can play a part in you being burned out as a caregiver if you don't have the resources to get somebody who can come in and help relieve you, let's say during the evening or during the day, right? So to start, I just want you to take a moment to reflect on the types of care that energize you the most. What energizes you the most? If emotional self care resonates, then do practices like journaling or therapy. Therapy is great. For physical self care, you might try incorporating some light movements or stretching into your day. If you can take your loved one out and go on walks, that would be great, because now you're getting it, they're getting that fresh air, and you guys are still bonding together. Now, by assessing and prioritizing the specific areas of need, you make self care intentional and sustainable rather than reactive and sporadic. You build it into your schedule. You understand what your needs are, but you also understand what you enjoy doing that meets that need. Because again, everything isn't for everybody. You can also integrate micro practices into your day for quick little resets, right? Now, what's a micro practice, you ask? They're these small, little manageable activities that you can do in quick amounts of time. It could be journaling, but quick journaling, 3 minutes. It could be mindful breathing, where you just do a minute of, or there are different types of breathing activities that you can do that will stimulate different parts of your nervous system to help reduce and relieve stress. Creating gratitude lists, using affirmation cards, or just reading affirmations. These practices are accessible even on busy days because they're quick, and they can offer a significant mood increase in just a few minutes' time. For instance, if you create a quick gratitude list, it helps ground you because it's shifting your focus from your stresses to your blessings. Okay, stressings to blessings. Deep breathing exercises, especially diaphragmatic breathing. Say that 3 times. Breathing from your diaphragm, not your chest. From your, where when you breathe, your stomach expands and contracts. Okay? That diaphragmatic breathing has been known to reduce your cortisol levels, which lowers your stress instantly. Come on now. Now, these little micro practices collectively help prevent stress from accumulating. And that's what ends up triggering the burnout, because you've got stress upon stress upon stress upon stress. You can only pile so much before the bridge breaks, right? So, prioritizing physical self care through movement. Now, physical activity doesn't even matter if it's brief. It has such a powerful impact on your mental health and your energy levels. 5 minutes of movement can increase your dopamine and your serotonin, and those are the chemicals in your brain that boost your mood. Morning stretches, a quick walk around the block. If you've got a dog, take your dog for a walk. If you got a cat, take your cat for a walk, right? Doing some gentle yoga. Those kind of things can be these mini resets that you need throughout your day. Now, for caregivers who are often stationary or always focused on others, intentional movement really can serve as a reminder for you to reconnect and stay connected with your own body. That's so important, because what that's going to do is counter this that physical stagnation that sometimes you have as a caregiver. Now, I want you to also create a calming space for daily rejuvenation. Where is your calm zone? Where is your safe space? I want you to create a space in your house. It might be a chair, it might be a corner, it might be a windowsill. Hell, if you got a big enough closet, it might be a space in your closet, right? If it's a windowsill, it might be a windowsill in your house where you get some beautiful natural light. But I want you to then take this space and fill it with items that promote relaxation. A soft blanket. One of my friends has the softest rug ever. I'm a very sensory touch person, right? A soft blanket, your favorite book, a candle, a really calming playlist. Not something sad though, some jazz, maybe, or your favorite slow songs that are still uplifting and motivating. Nowadays, you can go and create your own songs, right? Now, this space becomes your go to spot. Whenever you're stressed, when you need a mental or emotional timeout, your 10 or 15 minutes of me time that you're starting to set as your boundary in your life? You see how these things are starting to come and work together for your good? Every time you enter this space, start with a calming prayer. Start with some deep breathing exercises. 1 minute mindful breathing. Breathe in for 5 seconds, hold it for 5 seconds, slowly breathe out for 5 seconds. Do that for 1 minute. Because what it does is all this, when you move into this space, the repetition of it is going to start to signal your body and your mind that this is our calm zone. So it's going to start releasing stress. And that's going to be your consistent space of refuge. Those are the things that we need, right? And you can also make a joy list and schedule time for the simple pleasures in life. We need that. We deserve that. So, what you're going to do is you're going to create a list of activities or small joys, things that bring you happiness. It could be as simple as listening to your favorite song, that one that you just got to get up and be like, like, it's going to make you get up and dance around. Your favorite drink, tea, cocktail, whatever. I ain't here to judge. Just don't do it in excess if it's liquor. Looking at family photos or going through old videos. If you were like old school where you had the tapes from family trips, doing activities that you enjoy, I need you to make it a point to engage with at least one item on your list each day. Now, this joy list is reminding you that self-care isn't just about fixing what's broken. It's about fostering happiness and peace in the moment. It's not always because we're broken. Sometimes it's maintaining the happiness, maintaining the joy and the abundance and the peace. Schedule it into your day so that it's there. You can schedule joy. You can also schedule times to stress out. I ain't got time to think about this. I'll think about this between 3:30 and 3:45. Because what it does, it affirms to your soul that you deserve moments of joy, even amidst the pressing demands of caregiving. You deserve joy too. You deserve to give yourself the love that you give everyone else every day. And finally, we're turning this into a weekly self check in routine. So we've got our list of joys that we're going to interact with daily. And then on the end of the week, you need to check in with yourself because it allows you to tune into your needs before they escalate into burnout. So just do a quick check in. How am I feeling? Mindful meditation. How am I feeling in my body in this moment? How am I feeling mentally, emotionally, physically? Right? Looking at how I felt this week. How do I feel now? What drained my energy? What did I do that also brought my energy levels back up? Right? These self check ins help you become more attuned to your inner state. You're going to be more attuned to what triggers you, what is stressing you, and what helps you get out of it. So you can make adjustments proactively instead of reactively. That's important. I want you to remember to always celebrate those small wins. I got my 10 minutes in. I handled a stressful moment calmly. I made my loved one smile. There's a lady, Aunt D, who I follow on TikTok, and she has two special needs daughters. One who has autism and one who is a nonverbal um, autism, I guess. She needs to take time for herself. You can see that she doesn't take a lot of time for herself because she puts everything that she has into her daughters, and they're grown, but they still require a lot of help. They will never be able to live on their own. My hope for her is that she's checking in with herself, that she's celebrating the small wins that she has, not just their wins, but the wins that she has, and that she's scheduling these non negotiable breaks for consistent renewal. Because, and that she's setting her boundaries and standing on those boundaries, because that's important. All of these things together create your own self care and wellness routine that's going to help you as a caregiver defeat burnout and prevent it from coming back. So I want you to leave this space today knowing that self love is not a luxury, it is your birthright. You're worthy of the same love and care that you give to everyone else. And taking the time to nurture yourself is a gift that you're giving to everyone around you. I need you to remember, you don't have to do it all to be enough. You are enough just as you are. I need you to allow yourself the space to breathe, to rest, and to replenish. Fill that cup back up, baby. You cannot keep fighting this good fight alone and not replenishing yourself. It's all about putting you back on your priority list. I want to thank you for joining me today. This was a good show. This was a really good show. We talked about how to set your boundaries. We talked about creating your self-care toolkit. And we talked about putting you back on your priority list. Remember, you deserve to live your best, most fulfilled, happiest life. You deserve the love and the care that you give those around you. We'll see you on Monday. Monday, we got a special show. So I want to make sure that you guys are in the building. Monday, we are going to have two of my friends coming in, and we're going to be talking about, let me scroll up, own your pleasure, own your power, breaking free from shame. Yes, we are talking about your sexual health and your sexual wellness and pleasure, baby. I've got two of my good friends coming on, Dr. Roderick Stewart, who is a sex medicator with an M, okay? And he's an actual physician, doctor. And my friend LaCara Simmons, who is an advocate, a professor. I got them powerful friends. I got them good friends, okay? And they're going to come and we're going to talk about how do you own your pleasure, own your power, and get away from the shame that they try to label us because we want to be sexual beings and own and enjoy our sexuality. So we'll see you back Monday. Y'all have a wonderful day, a fabulous weekend. And remember, schedule in that me time, baby. You deserve it. We'll see you later. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Wake Up Happy Sis Show. Join us live every Monday and Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern for more joy, healing, and sisterhood. Until next time, keep thriving unapologetically, sis.